Captain Akers from Sheriff's Department, would you lead us in the...
Certainly will.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the October 31st Halloween edition of the Board of County Commissioners. On my right, disguised as Charlie Brown.
I thought we were all wearing our costumes today.
I'm wearing a county commissioner outfit for Halloween. Nothing could be scarier. On my right, Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2, and on my left is Commissioner Aaron Mays, who represents District 3. I am Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. First item on the agenda. First of all, I want to pull item E1, and we're not going to reschedule that at this time. It's kind of on an indefinite hold.
We can do that, okay.
Okay, item 1.
Okay, item 3, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $889,136.62. The highlights out of the voucher report, a couple of things to highlight. We have environmental systems research for $30,000. That was for the GIS maintenance. Also, under the sheriff, there was $17,782.19. That was for some repairs to a vehicle. And then finally, under the Rearig Pacific Company, $57,161 under solid waste. That was for refuse carts. Those are kind of the highlights out of the voucher report. I do not have any questions. I would move for its approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
There are no correction orders.
Okay. Next,
Item B, District Court number 1, consider approval of request to replace and/or repair the flooring in room 104 and the records room of court services from the Furniture Mall of Kansas at a cost of $14,286.80 with funding from the court services budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Welch, Court Administrator, 3rd Judicial District. In my memo, I noted the carpet in court services, room 104, as well as their records room. This carpet is only about 3 years old, but it was part of the carpet that was laid in the building that was very poor quality, and also the installation was subpar. We've had black water leaks from the DA's office in that room on at least 2 occasions. We've tried cleaning it to no avail. We have obtained this bid from Furniture Mall, who's done most of the carpet recently, so I'm requesting approval to authorization to make that purchase.
Just an inquiry of facilities, as Bill Kroll, if you might be able to address that whether or not the leak from the second floor has been addressed, and so that before we put down new carpet, we're not going to be replacing the carpet in a year.
Yeah, we replaced about 80 feet of soil pipe that had failed in the east corridor area. There was another leak at one time on the west corridor area of 104. Nasty stuff, got it cleaned up. And the carpet that Lee's talking about, the initial installer that we had on that, which sometimes the low bid gets you, they didn't do a particularly good job with that. I'm all for getting it replaced since they have the money in their budget to do it.
But the leak has been addressed, and we will not see this again, hopefully.
Yeah, that would be the idea. Like I say, we got 80 foot of the pipe replaced on that east side, which seemed to be the area that we were causing all the problems. It was an oddball sized pipe, which added to the problems. We also replaced the ceiling in that area. So if we ever do have a problem again, we can get to it very quickly now with drop ceiling instead of a hard ceiling, so.
All right. I don't have any other questions.
Any questions?
Move to acknowledge receipt.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C, Public Works. Number 1, public hearing and consider approval of request to use design build as the project delivery method for the new teacup grit unit for the Sherwood wastewater treatment plant.
Good morning, Commissioners, and happy Halloween. You know that as part of our $7 million KDHE loan, we want to replace the teacup out at the Sherwood wastewater treatment plant. That teacup, or that treatment plant, is located right there. And I'm here before you because I'm leading into this public hearing. I want to just give the public some background information. So again, this project is part of our $7 million KDHE loan. This is the existing teacup. Teacup is capitalized because it's a product name. There's other products out there that do the same thing, or maybe the same thing in a slightly different way, and that is to get the grit out of the waste stream. And so we may replace this teacup in kind, maybe with a newer model, or we may come back with a different kind of product. But in a sense, we're replacing the teacup. Why design build? That's why we're here, because we're using an alternate project delivery method. Looking back at the picture here, it's predominantly an installation problem. And because it's an installation problem, we want to bring a contractor on board. Design is really a secondary issue. And I feel like the contractor should be comfortable who they're going to work with from a design side. They may not need much design. So it's important for the contractor to really lead this project and bring on a consultant or a designer that they're comfortable with. They may have one in-house. Another thing about design build that I think is important as far as this project goes is construction preparations and engineering can occur simultaneously. And so when it's simultaneous rather than in series or consecutively, we got a shorter project delivery time. And finally, we have one contract. We have one contract with the construction designer team rather than the potential for 3 contracts. Contract with designer, contract with the contractor, and contract with whoever does the inspection. So theoretically, we should have lower overall project costs. Why the public hearing? Because it's required by KSA 19-216 DC, and it basically says that whenever you want to deliver a public improvement using an alternate project delivery method, that means something alternate to the traditional design bid build process. You have to publish a notice in the paper, which we have done, and then you have to hold a public hearing, and that is a good segue into the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman.
Questions?
I would move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. We're now open for public comment. Seeing none.
I don't have any questions. I would move to close the public hearing and approve the request.
I would second that. Motion's been made to close the hearing, seconded by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
And now the request to approve the design build process on this teacup project.
No,
I'm
that-
sorry.
It was a motion to close and approve the
Okay,
request.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Now you want the contract?
Yes.
Would you like me to read it?
Yes, please.
I thought maybe it was like, Happy Halloween.
Yeah, I'm dressed.
You dressed up
I'm
like a
dressed up-
county clerk, right? Yeah, I knew it.
Next.
I'm sorry. Public Works, item 2. Consider authorization and execution of contract C 389-2019 and an updated contract with the city of Topeka for the maintenance of traffic signals with no increase in annual maintenance costs other than the additional cost related to field equipment upgrades.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works. This is just basically an update of an existing contract that we have with the city of Topeka, who maintains all of our traffic signals out in the county. The update really involves the removal of one signal because we put in a roundabout. And then on Southeast 29th, which is presently under construction, we're going to have a new signal, a hawk signal that allows people to cross Southeast 29th Street. So really, that's the essence of this update. It's, other than that, there's a no-cost change in the contract. It does say that after January 1st of 2021, if any of our electronics in the signal system that controls the operation, if it needs replacing or updating, we're going to have to go with a complete new system because what our existing electronics are becoming at the end of life cycle or end of the design cycle. It's difficult to get parts.
Who pays for electricity? Is that city responsibility or is that ours?
The county pays for that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we take a moment and talk about item 1D, the hawk signal? This is an item that has, I don't want to just blush over it. This is an item that has taken a lot of work to get to this point. Mr. Martin, who's in the audience, would tell you that it's taken a lot of time to get here. To the north of Lake Shawnee, there's Aquarian Acres. On the south of 29th Street is Lake Shawnee. And for many years, we have struggled with what to do with how people want to cross 29th Street to go from Aquarian Acres to Lake Shawnee to use the trails. There's been a lot of discussion. There's no real sidewalks at Aquarian Acres that you're tying to at Lake Shawnee to cross. And so the public is going to be in the roadway at Aquarian Acres to activate the hawk signal to then go to Lake Shawnee. How are we addressing that? Or are we?
Well, as part of the project, as it continues, Southeast 29th will continue next year, and that's the portion where we do Wittenberg to Croco Road. It's my understanding that we're adding the same 10-foot or 12-foot multi-use lane on the north side and where appropriate sidewalk on the south side.
Okay. I just want to make sure, and then the public, there would have been concerns about the public crossing the 29th Street, whether or not there's going to be adequate notice as people come from the west headed east up 29th. There's a hill to make sure that we have adequate notice to the traffic, the pedestrians crossing. I know that the hawk signal's used across the city and other areas. Do you have any concerns?
I have none. I'm sure the advanced signing will meet all the latest MUTCD requirements.
Okay. I want to make sure that we have looked at all of the safety concerns, all of the pedestrian concerns, especially as we're talking about families and young children that may be crossing 29th Street, which is a very heavily trafficked roadway. Presently, people are crossing without a hawk signal at their own peril. And so, Bill,
I think that some people cross at the, right by the spillway at the dam and just use the light, the signal there. That is a safe way to cross at this point.
the Croco or the spillway is the safe way, but what we see a lot of times is right at the entrance of Aquarian Acres. Presently, people are crossing, so I don't know where exactly the hawk signal, at the 3627 or 3267, where exactly that falls on 29th Street at. Let's see, Mr. Martin, he might be,
It's east
Yeah.
of Aquarian Acres.
Yeah. It doesn't line up exactly with Aquarian Acres.
That was the purpose. It's about a block east of, near the high spot right now.
okay.
So it's just before you get to the shopping center.
Is that for visibility from both, for
Yep.
traffic? Okay.
You get it away from the intersection.
Okay.
All right. Just as long as we've addressed all of those issues and concerns, again, this is an item that we have looked at multiple ways. We examined going under 29th Street, over 29th Street, around 29th Street, and now we're going across 29th Street. So, just again, this is an item that's taken a longer time to get here. I'll move to approve the request.
I will second the motion. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider approval of request for a project budget of approximately $44,955 to resurface the Gage accessible diamond with funding from the Capital Maintenance 3R Fund.
Good morning, Commissioner. Randy Luby with Parks and Recreation. We've got a little brief slideshow for you. If I can see where I'm going. Now, we'll just leave it with that. Before you today is a project budget for our Gage Park accessible field. It was built in 2011. It gets used quite often. I checked with Stacy Wonder this week, and she said we use it 5 to 6 times a week, and that includes other various Topeka services. So it gets used. We have a wheelchair softball team that practices at least once or twice a week on it as well. As you can see, we haven't done anything since 2011, and the cracks are becoming very visible. That's actually about 1.5 inch size crack, as you can see. And what we're planning on doing basically is just they will fix the cracks and fill them, and then resurface and paint the entire ball field. So be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Is this cracking, is it occurring over the whole
Yes,
field, or is it a
yes.
certain location?
I think there's one picture, let me go back up here, that you can kind of see throughout. The outfield especially, that's where I noticed the bigger cracks, and you can actually see it from the road as you are driving by. But you get out there and it's 1.5 to 2 inches wide.
So a wheelchair wheel could.
Yes,
fall down.
definitely. We need to repair this. And we'll go out for RFP as soon as possible, but it would probably be in the spring before it would get done.
Any questions?
We're planning on requesting to resurface as opposed to just a patch and fill.
Correct. They'll widen the crack out a little bit, and then they'll fill it and then paint over it. It'd be cheaper than obviously redoing the whole thing, so.
Is this a lot like tennis court?
Yes, very much. It's actually the same type of, the people that are doing Hughes, I'm expecting them to be bidding on it as well, so.
I'll move that we approve.
A second.
Been moved by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Item D2, consider approval of request to award bid to Playscape Recreation for the purchase of 8 outdoor basketball goals for installation at a cost of $11,896, with $8,922 in funding from the excess reserve funds and $2,974 in funding from the capital maintenance 3R funds, and authorization and execution of contract C390-2019 per same.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Recreation, requesting permission to approve this contract for basketball goal replacements. Be happy to answer any questions.
Where are you looking at replacing or installing these?
These are going to go in Collins, Austin, Eastgate, and Cushionberry Park.
Okay. What's the condition of the court at Cushionberry? Is that still
Cushionberry,
asphalt?
we are looking at actually replacing that this winter.
Okay.
It's a cracked asphalt at this point.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
I will move that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item D3, consider approval of request to award bid to Edwards Chemical for the purchase of various pool products from October 31, 2019 through December 31, 2020, with funding for the department's operating budget and authorization and execution of contract C391-2019 for same.
Good morning, Commissioner. Shawn Osborne, Parks and Recreation. The item before you is just the RFP that went out to utilize the chemicals throughout our pools, and Edwards Chemical was the one that came in, and we have worked with them in the past, and we do not see any problems using them in the future if the contract is approved.
do we get all the chemicals from the same vendor? Is that,
Yeah. They, each pool's different. There's some that are different just because of the age and the size of the pool. And Edwards seems to have the products that we need.
I don't have any questions about this, but while you're there, do you have any update on the Rossville pool? Do we have our scope back?
Yeah, the Rossville pool, the company that we went with, actually, we've had to go back and do more research because they had backed out. They had said that they could do something, but it was gonna cost more. And so we decided to go and research and do some more. So we're actually in the process of looking to find a different company and go that route. And then we're also looking in the future to setting up a meeting with Rossville as well to communicate with them.
So at this point, on October the 31st, we still don't have an answer as to where the leak is coming from or the degree of the leak.
We have an idea, but
It's concrete.
But yeah, you can't go in and just start digging, but we feel we kind of know where it's at. And so as we go into this process of trying to figure out different companies that may be able to help us and that, because this is new to us as well, of trying to figure out where some of these leaks are. Some of the stuff is pretty simple to us because it might be a valve, but we think this is a break in a pipe.
Okay. I just think the more communication we can have with Rossville, the more communication, the better.
Yep.
But I'll make a motion to approve the request for the chemicals.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item D4, consider authorization and execution of contract C-379-2019, amendment number 3 to contract C-369-2017 for a one-year extension from November 30, 2020, for an on-call architectural and engineering services with Professional Engineering Consultants, PA, and Falk Architects, Inc., with payment terms revised.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Director. Yeah, we are very happy with the performance from both PEC and Brian Falk Architects. They've been very responsive, very thorough, and we would like to extend their contract, each of their contracts, for a year. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
How many years could we extend contracts on?
I don't know the answer for that for sure. I think this just maybe 1 year,
Okay.
but I don't know. I don't know if anybody has that.
This is the first year.
This would be our first extension.
So this is the first extension, and typically we go out maybe maximum of 2 to 3 years before we bid it again.
Okay.
So I would anticipate
is
next
number 2.
next year will be bid for an RFP.
Okay.
There's no changes to the contract? It's exactly the
No,
same?
just an
Okay.
extension.
Changing the pricing.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes. There's, yeah, it's outlined here in the memo. The payment terms are revised to include an hourly billing or a lump sum payment for a project based upon both parties being in agreement. I think that's the major change.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D5, consider approval of request to accept the Healthy Play Initiative Game Time Grant in the amount of $256,225.80 for the purchase of playground equipment in various parks, and authorization and execution of contract C-392-2019 with Game Time for playground equipment and freight for a total of $308,343.20, in which $296,343.20 in funding is from the Excess Reserve Fund and $12,000 is from the Maintenance 3R Fund, and contract C-393-2019 with Game Time for installation with $160,242 in funding from the Capital Maintenance 3R Fund.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Director. We were here a few weeks ago and asked permission to go out for this grant to purchase some additional playground equipment. I'm excited to say today that we were awarded the grant. I have some gentlemen here with me today from Cunningham Recreation, Nick Wisenhunt and Justin Long. They have a short presentation that they'd like to give, and if I could have them come up right now and do that.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Nick Wisenhunt. I am the Regional Manager for Cunningham Recreation. We are excited to be here this morning to announce that Shawnee County has applied for and been awarded over $250,000 in grant funds from Game Time Playgrounds. Those grant funds will be utilized to make park and playground upgrades at 11 local parks, which I'm sure will have a tremendous impact on thousands of kids and families locally. We're just very excited at the commitment and the investment the county is willing to put forth toward the local community. Excited to be part of the progress and looking forward to getting started with construction. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our local representative, Justin Long, and he will walk you through each park and answer any questions.
Hello everyone, Justin Long, Cunningham Recreation. Thank you Commissioners for having us here today. Appreciate Tim having us here as well. I'd like to walk you through these parks that we have designed for you guys, kind of touch base. Austin Park is the first one that's going to get an upgrade. What we've done here at Austin, this would be a 2 to 12-year-old unit for children's age 2 to 12. We do have 3 spring riders, a 3-base swing, that also does include one of our expression swings, which is a lot of people consider a mommy and me type swing here where the toddler sits in and faces you. The surfacing is going to be poured-in-place rubber is what the county is looking at doing. That is fully on the county and their decision of color. Basically, we just put a color underneath it to complement the colors in the structure. So that is going to be fully determined on them. Central Park is going to be a 2 to 12-year-old unit as well, really focusing on no tunnels, hiding spaces, and less maintenance. So again, the surfacing will be determined by the county. Children's Park is going to be a 2 to 5-year-old structure. Is one of the smaller structures. Again, surfacing is going to be on the county. Collins Park is going to be a 2 to 5-year-old structure. This is a deck and post structure of ours, what we call a hybrid. That is using some of our escape line, which is a newer line that involves a little bit more of climbing elements. One thing that was very crucial in this park and was requested by the community is a sway bench, so adults can sit and swing as they watch their children. Again, on this one is going to be a 4-base swing, which does include one of our expression swings, very popular swing. Again, surfacing on the county. Eastboro is going to be a 2 to 5 structure. Again, going to be one of our hybrid units that is a deck and post with an escape. Our escape line to add more climbing elements and a little bit of overhead climbing as well. There will be a 3-base swing on this one, again with an expression swing, surfacing to match. Eastgate is going to be a 2 to 12-year-old structure. They're going to add a 2-base swing here, again surfacing to match. Very basic structure, focusing on ease of maintenance. Gwendolyn Brooks is going to be a 2 to 5-year-old structure, very similar to the other 2 to 5 structure, again with surfacing to match. Hughes Park is going to be, we're going to be replacing a inclusive piece that was there currently. They do have a 2 to 5-year-old structure and a 5 to 12-year-old structure. We're actually going to simplify that and go a 2 to 12-year-old structure that kind of links together here. Again, partnering with our escape line and making a hybrid with an inclusive spin seat, as you see over here. I do like to point out that this climber, this sensory wave climber here, is at transfer height and does have interactive panels that does make this whole design very inclusive. We also offer what's called a slide transfer, which you'll see right here. This is actually elevated a foot, so somebody in a mobility device can actually transfer out and utilize the slides much easier than from the ground. This will come from a 2-foot berm that the county will prep for us. And again, surfacing to match. Major Palm is going to be a 2 to 12-year-old structure. Again, this is going to be a hybrid with escape and a 2-base swing, again, including one of our expression swings, surfacing to match on the county. Meadowwood is going to be a 2 to 12-year-old structure. Again, deck and post, partnering with our escape, adding more climbing elements, and surfacing to match once again. Last but not least is Willow. Willow is going to be a 2 to 5-year-old structure with a 3-bay swing, and again with one of our expression swings. And the county's going to have full control of where these swings go. We just showed them together, but they may or may not be placed elsewhere in the park. So, that's all I have. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Well, you can imagine how excited we are to be here today to talk about this. I think it's a major impact to the community, and yeah, we're just really looking forward to, hopefully with your approval, to move forward on the project. So be happy to answer any questions.
I like that you made a special effort to make it, the playground equipment at Hughes all-inclusive. That was the first accessible playground in Kansas.
That's what I understood,
And,
yes.
and once again, I see you're tearing out projects I did 30 years ago.
Sorry about that.
That's good. No, that's good. They're old and worn out, so it's good to see these improvements being made. And it's taking care of some deferred maintenance that we had in our park systems. So, do you have any questions?
Just a couple. Tim, what process did you go through in determining whether it would be a 2 to 12, 2 to 5? What age group would go into each park? I mean, each park is specially designed.
Right.
We don't see uniform equipment going across the park. Each park has a little
Sure.
different element. How did you arrive at that?
Sure. Well, this actually started quite a while ago, really before I got here, where we had a group of staff that went out and did assessments at each park. And so that was one of the things they looked at. And for example, I'm not sure I can answer specifically for each park, but let's take Austin Park, for example. We already have an older modular unit like this at Austin Park that's in good shape. So that's why we wanted to make sure we included a smaller structure there, so that we can really hit all ages. So I think there's a lot of factors that went into it, but we did specifically, you're right, look at each park and try to make an educated decision.
Okay. And then as far as the base, they talked about there being the composite rubberized base under each
Right.
Element. That's not part of this award.
It is not part of this award, but it's been a while back, but it was actually before I got here, I believe, when we came forward to the commission asking for a project budget to renovate those 8 parks. The poured-in-place surface was part of that project budget, as well as the concrete improvements that we'll need at each location. I will add the caveat that with the grant, we were able to expand to 3 more additional parks. And so that we may come back at some point asking for some additional funds to do some things in those 3 parks, but our initial assessments right now, we feel I would say we feel fairly confident that we may be able to do it with the existing budget.
In the past, there was a concern about overbuilding smaller parks.
Yeah.
Can you address that concern and whether or not this is overbuilding any of those parks?
Sure. We try to look at how many people live in those neighborhoods. So we use a site, the Trust for Public Lands website, and they've worked with the National Recreation and Parks Association on the 10-mile walk theory. So you should be able, or 10-minute walk, not 10 mile, 10-minute walk. So as part of that website, they've used census information to try to come up with how many seniors, adults, and kids live in a neighborhood. And so we've tried to look at that information when we plan these parks to make sure that where we're putting them, they're going to get a lot of use. So that doesn't necessarily guard against planning a park, but I think it does give us some good information about where to put equipment and possibly how much equipment should be there.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Tim, and thanks representatives from Game Time. And I think you did a lot of work here in design, and it looks very good. So, one other thing I'd like to add, Tim, I'd like you to, since all the rubber matting is on us, you might look and see KDHE used to have some good grants, some 50/50 grants for putting safety surface down.
I believe Brian Toby, who's sitting back here, is looking into that right now.
Very good,
So,
and that could help stretch the dollars.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the request and, again, acknowledge Game Time and all of their grant, and thank you very much for being a cooperative partner in this.
We got a second? Yep. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item E has been pulled. Item F, Sheriff's Department. Number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Hill indicating that he is creating a shift supervisor position in the Communications Division of the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office at an hourly rate of $19.69.
Good morning, Commissioners. Melanie Bergers, Director of Communications for the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. I want to clarify on the agenda item that we are not creating a shift supervisor position. We're creating a quality assurance and recruitment supervisor. What we've done budgetarily is downgrade a floor supervisor position to a shift supervisor to fill that. Captain Acree has worked with HR and Ms. Griner's office to get a position description together after we brought this idea forward. So just to clarify, it's not a shift supervisor. This quality assurance and recruitment supervisor position is much needed. What we've seen over the last year is it really takes a dedicated person to ensure that we're getting people through the hiring process. We're going, looking at our stats from September 18 to September 19, and we've had 280 applicants. 27% of those folks have gotten through the critical testing. 72% of those actually tested. So there's a large amount of people that we're actually reaching out to and partnering with HR, some initiatives that we've done on Indeed and social media to get some better applicants in. This person would be in charge of that recruitment and making sure they're getting through the process. Additionally, our quality assurance, it's currently done by our shift supervisors. We are not meeting national standards for quality assurance of our 911 calls and emergency radio traffic. We do a pretty good job, but we can do better. This would afford opportunities for us to give positive feedback as well as corrective action much quicker if we're having one person do the quality assurance on these calls and making sure that we're doing them correctly and identifying training areas that we need to work on for our staff. And lastly, this would allow another step in our career ladder for our communications division, giving our folks something to strive for, a position that they'd like to meet. So after your guys' consideration, we'd like to open this as soon as possible. Any questions?
I will move that we acknowledge receipt of this correspondence.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Okay, take this time to, oh, there we go. You're there.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. I just wanted to inform you that the county clerk has set the mill levy for Shawnee County for this next year, and it was set at 48.172. During our budget process, we estimated what we thought it would be, and that estimation was 48.194. So the actual mill levy is slightly less than what we estimated when we approved the budget.
Very good.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Howell, Shawnee County Election Commissioner. Just a reminder, voting is going on in the office till 6 p.m. Through Friday. So if you would like to vote early, this is your opportunity for the upcoming election. Next week, Tuesday, is Election Day. So reminder, you got till 6 p.m. Through Friday this week, and then Monday, early voting will be closing at noon. So I just wanted to emphasize that. I think sometimes people forget and don't remember that early voting closing at noon next Monday, and then Election Day is Tuesday. So just a reminder. Feel free to use the website. We have our Find Your Polling Place locator on there. And then if you have any questions, feel free to call the office, 251-5900. We'd be happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Solid Waste. Two announcements. First, we had a very successful electronic collection event last Saturday at the Stormonteville Event Center. Had 697 participants, which was our second highest turnout for the event, and we collected over 35 tons of electronics for repurposing and recycling, so a great event. Second, this is the first Saturday of the month, which means this is our special collection event at the Household Hazardous Waste. They are open from 9 until noon for all hazardous household waste, and they're located at 131 Northeast 46th Street. Thank you.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works. On October 4th, Public Works conducted a fundraiser for the Topeka Rescue Mission, and I've asked Janet Morrissey and Courtney Palmer to come forward to tell us about that.
Good morning. I am Janet Morrissey with Public Works. This is Courtney Palmer. Morning. Like Kurt said, on October 4th, we had a fundraiser to benefit Topeka Rescue Mission, and we raised $2,300, which will all go to them. Had fun. We sold food, we sold desserts, pop, whatever, tickets. We did have a special drawing for a necklace that actually one of our gentlemen in the Public Works won, so that was good. But anyway, I would like to present these checks to Barry with Topeka Rescue Mission. There you go.
Thank you, Janet.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is once again Public Works stepping up to the plate in Shawnee County like many other citizens have been and continue to do. And we're so grateful for all the work that you've put into this, and thank you for helping me get here this morning, as well as the rest of us that live in the county. So things are looking good at Topeka Rescue Mission. We appreciate the great support, and this once again is one of those testimonies of how this works. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Do they need to do a photo? Would you guys like to do a little photo?
Janet, Courtney, can you guys?
Oh.
Oh, I think we're supposed to go.
Out here.
Oh,
Okay.
Dawn, if you get to stand in front of me, that's all right. This don't take much.
Well-
You'll stand in front.
Usually they do it right in front of the screen.
Right in front of the clerk.
Yeah, right in front
Yes.
of the clerk.
Not with the clerk, just right there.
There we go.
They don't understand. We don't understand. Tim's right there.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet,
Thanks.
Courtney, everything you guys have done.
Very
Thank
good
you.
job. Some good cause.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. This Saturday will be our annual Heartland Community Baby Shower. This is an event put on by Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods. It is a safe sleep event. So we have this event every year to help expectant families learn about safe sleep, and pregnant women who attend the shower and receive the training will receive a free portable crib, diapers, and a wearable blanket while supplies last. We have a lot more this year, so I think we'll have enough for everyone. This event will be held at the Central Park Community Center, which is 1534 Southwest Clay Street. I want to give a big thank you to Parks and Rec for partnering with us on this very popular event. They will also be giving free Tdap, which is the tetanus, diphtheria, and acellular pertussis shot, to caregivers and pregnant women, and free flu shots. So we hope everyone can come out Saturday morning that is expecting a baby and enjoy that. And we also have another free flu event for uninsured adults. This will be Saturday from 1 to 3 at our 10th Street Clinic, which is 2115 Southwest 10th. Any adult 19 and older that does not have insurance can come and get a free flu shot. We had a very successful clinic last night, so we hope more folks will come out Saturday. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols, Emergency Management. I'm just taking that Captain Obvious moment in saying that it snowed, surprise. But seriously, it's time to prepare for the winter months. If you're going to switch out your preparedness kits in your cars, those kinds of things, make sure those warm things and the emergency kits are ready to go. And we're not through yet. This is just the beginning. So take the time now and get prepared. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. Just wanted to remind you, we did stock Lake Shawnee last week with 7,000 pounds of rainbow trout. Basically, the lake has been closed for a week. We'll open for fishing at 6 a.m. on Saturday. And give you a little brief deal of this trout. The program started back in 1979 with our first director, which was Ted Inslee, and past Shawnee County Commissioner. So this is the 40th year that we've had trout at Lake Shawnee, and it was one of the first programs to have trout in lake water in Kansas. So anyway, just let everybody know, fishing season starts at 6 a.m. on Saturday. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. Melanie Bergers, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office Communications Division. Just wanted to give you a brief update on communications. We haven't given one in some time, and we just want to continue to keep you updated on how we're doing. In the last year, what we've seen in our hiring and recruitment, this is the first year we haven't lost any long-term employees. We have lost people in our training process, but I think that the retention efforts that we've been working on for our long-term folks and getting people in the door are definitely working. We are having some issues with getting quality applications, so continued efforts will keep going there. So we have a great team of people with good ideas, so we'll keep moving on that. One of the probably biggest projects we've worked on with our partners is a countywide fire dispatching initiative. We've been working on massaging this that would make sure it would work for all of our partners for a couple years now. In this last 6 months or so, we've come to an agreement. And basically what that does is we currently have 2 fire dispatchers, and this brings it down to 1 dispatcher that's needed to dispatch all first responder and medical calls on 1 channel, but for both rural and city fire departments. Then that frees up a secondary dispatcher to assist with any tactical communications they might need on a large structure fire or major incident. It improves the interoperability between our rural fire departments and our city fire departments, and it improves our efficiency in the dispatch center with our decreased staffing numbers. So it was a win on all sides, I believe, of the radio. About a month ago, we hired an assistant radio network administrator, Chuck Pretty. You're probably familiar with him from the IT department here in Shawnee County, so he has quite a bit of experience here in Shawnee County, and he's been getting up to speed on all the radio frequency information that he needs to learn on our Motorola site. As I mentioned previously, this last year has really been assessing what we've done and what we want to do in 2020. And one of the biggest things that we want to look at is quarterly in-service for all of our communications specialists. We just finished all of our trainers. The CS2 positions are all now certified training officers. They actually will finish the second one November 14th. That will be 100% complete. And our training manager is now a basic telecommunicator instructor and a certified training officer instructor. So we have an in-house instructor that other agencies can utilize, and we can get cheaper costs for the class, for books and materials itself, when we partner with other agencies, as well as ensuring that everybody we promote into those positions are getting that certification as well. So we have a more unified training across the board. And lastly, our training academy, we're starting with number 8 in December. It's hard to believe we've been through 7 training academies since November of 2017. They've gone fairly fast, and we're getting ready to fill this last academy to begin in December. Dawn Fry is our training manager. She continues to teach that, as well as our partnership with Washburn Tech at that communications program that we have. Since Sheriff Hill's been on, he has moved us to also work with TCALC and the 501 school district, and this is actually news to him. I haven't talked to him yet, but we actually just got a call yesterday inviting us in that public safety class. So we are working in the schools as well and recruiting. We do want 18-year-old kids right out of high school to come and be dispatchers. So that's just speaking to our recruitment efforts as well and our training program. That's just our update. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. Captain Caleb Akery, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. Want to take a minute just to remind the public, with tonight being Halloween, with the inclement weather we've had, please slow down, take your time, be mindful of all the little kids and people that are out going to be on foot. Also, consider taking advantage of the trunk or treats that are spread throughout the city and the county. I know there's several fire departments that are hosting it. We are co-hosting one at the Law Enforcement Center on 3rd Street with the Topeka Police Department for try to keep some of the kids a little safer and away from the roadways. The other thing I'd like to do is give compliments to Public Works. This morning on the way in, you could hear a lot of radio traffic on vehicle slide-offs and inclement driving. Most of those were on, let's say, non-county roads. Very few were on county roads, and so as growing up through the ranks and being out on the street where the officers are working day in and day out, it goes a long ways for the hard work the Public Works puts in to make sure the citizens and our officers are as safe as can be when the weather's bad. So thank you to Public Works. Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Cook?
No, just I think Halloween safety and have everybody be safe tonight. So, thank you.
Mr. Mays?
Happy Halloween, and a little disappointed there aren't more people in costume today, but Commissioner Cook, kudos to you.
Our hats off. I had an opportunity, along with a number of our staff, to go to Wichita last Wednesday. We went to the Kansas Leadership Center, and the Kansas Leadership Center is an organization that helps foster and develop leadership skills, and we received a grant from them for education leadership, and we're going to take advantage of that and send a number of our people to leadership training. So you'll be hearing more about that as it progresses. That's it. I don't think we have a need for executive session today, so I think we're done.
Do we have change? Do we have department head meeting at 10? Okay. But do we need to notify the public, or do we need to make a note of it? Do we need to notify anybody, or tell anybody?